you might be familiar with the terms inclusive, inclusive in education, inclusive society, inclusive school, okay, then even full inclusion, social inclusion, okay. So all these terms already terminology you people are familiar, isn't it? Now, see, all these means the same, but still they have given school is a school where both students stay. See, I don't want to repeat the same thing. Inclusive education. Are the reasons for marginalization and what are the main vulnerable factors? Okay, generally who will have more impact? That also we have discussed, isn't it? Now we have discussed about inclusion, we have discussed about marginalization. Now the other day even I think I would have started what is segregation, isn't it? Did you start? I think you
segregation is that.
Yeah. So segregation is nothing but segregation is the process in which children with special needs. I said na today actually in I think Times of India he has given. See what is the technology based learning for children, for differently abled children or exceptional children or children with special needs. Generally what happens is that the terminology exceptional is nothing but they are quite different. See, you may take it in the one way, you may take it exceptional means, yeah, see everyone, all the students in the class are average students. He is exceptional. Means what happens here? Exceptional here means actually, okay, he is not a part of this one, what the category. So when we say that is exceptional is nothing but except. Okay. So here exceptional children are the children who are not normal. They are exceptional children. Children with special needs, children with differently abled children. Okay. Then differently abled children, children with exceptional needs, children with special needs, all means the same. So what happened? Inclusive is nothing but the inclusive is a process where normal non-disabled children will be made to sit along with disabled children and will be taught in the mainstream under a normal teacher. This is what I said regarding the inclusion. Okay, there the disability of the differently abled children or children with special needs would be mild. It will not be severe. For that purpose, teaching can be done. It would outcomes would be fruitful to some extent. Okay, a 75%. Even the disabled children who are taught in inclusive school will have fruitful outcomes. Okay. Now here, when it comes to the segregation, it is a process in which children with special needs or disabled children, they are identified as a separate group and are educated in special schools in the company of the other disabled children in the same category, being alienated from the parents, siblings, non-disabled children, peer and their own community. See, generally what happens, segregation is nothing but this is a process in which children with special needs, exceptional children will be taught in separate schools along with other disabled children of the same category away from their parents, sibling and other non-disabled group. See, let me tell you, segregation in the process is a process in which children with severe disability will be taught in a separate school by a special teacher who has taken training to teach such students, okay, away from their parents, siblings, peer group, okay, and peer group is nothing but their neighborhood or whatever it may be, and they will be away from non-disabled children. Who are non-disabled children?
Normal children, ma'am.
Normal children. Okay, did you understand? This is segregation. So generally what happens, the segregated schools for exceptional children or children with special needs are meant for the students who are completely blind, who are completely dumb and deaf, and who are mentally retarded. Only you could see if the severity is more, the children will be made to learn in the segregated schools. They will be away from their parents, and special teacher will be there who is going to teach them and all the basics. When we are talking about the curriculum will be quite different from the normal children. The curriculum will be framed in such a way that it will be designed in such a way that it will be according to the needs of the students, depending upon the category, depending upon the needs. Which category does the child come? Category in the sense whether he is a blind, whether it is a dumb and deaf, and whether he is a mentally. So according to that, the separate curriculum will be made, and the teacher who has training to teach such students will be made to teach such students. Okay, so that what happens, at least to some extent, the students will be able to learn, and in future they will become a little bit at least independent. To some extent they will become independent. This is the main motto of the segregated schools, because if we make the children with severe disability to sit along with the normal children, then the teacher will not be able to focus, because completely the teaching techniques and the strategy would be different for such children, and the teaching and the techniques and the strategies for such children will be taught by the teacher only who has taken training. Otherwise, it's not that easy. Already I have told you what you mean by. After B.Ed, you have 1 year course where you will be given training to teach such students. Okay. So only such teachers, those who have taken training, will be able to teach in the segregated schools. I think what is segregation, what is segregated schools, I think you people have an idea. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Understood.
Okay. Now, I said segregation is nothing but separation. Special education is given by segregating the children with exceptional needs in totally different learning environment in special educational institutions. Like we have schools for blind, deaf, mentally, and everything. The curriculum and the teachers and the teaching methods will be completely different. And they will be specific to whatever the teaching curriculum, whatever the learning experiences, whatever the teaching strategies and the techniques will be there. That will be quite different. Okay, that will be according to the disability concerned and different from those in the normal schools. See, I said normal schools children will have different teaching strategies. In the segregated schools, depending upon the category to which the child belongs. In case if he is blind, if he is dumb and deaf, or if he is mentally, depending upon the category the child falls under, so the teaching will be done. Different teaching strategies will be used. So segregation is nothing but separation. Did you understand? So generally what happens, we have many, I think in India we have many segregated schools, like we have the Thakur Hari Prasad, we have for dumb and deaf and everything, we have disabled. Segregated education of children with disabilities began with the establishment of Amritsar. It started in the year 1887. See, generally what happens, even in the normal schools, segregation in a separate classroom for students with special needs is a practice where students with special needs do not attend classes with non-disabled children. See, same thing. They may attend the same school with regular classes where regular classes are provided, but spend all the instructional time exclusively in a separate classroom for students with special needs. Okay. See, what happens generally, there are facilities where even in the normal schools you have special classrooms for segregated students, for children with special needs. Okay, so what happens here, the children with special needs in the normal school will not be made to sit along with the normal children, but they will be made to sit along with the same disabled children of the same category. They have the different instructional procedure. The normal students will have different instructional procedure, but only the severe disabled children will be integrated along with the normal children during the physical education, music, and during the lunch and other things. So, did you follow my point? Are you able to follow? Anyone?
Yes, ma'am.
There are two things. Completely you have segregated schools, means schools meant for children with severe disability. They will be away from their parents, siblings and other peer group. Okay, and even they will be away from their non-disabled group. They will be taught in a separate, classroom depending upon the category by a special teacher who has taken training. Okay, see what happens, they have different curriculum, they have different teaching procedures, they have different teaching techniques, they have different strategies, okay, quite different from the normal students. Depending upon their disability, a curriculum will be framed so that at the end of the day, that every student will lead an independent life. Segregation is nothing but away from the normal schools, putting away. Okay, so what happens, now what I am telling you is that even if there are chances that in normal schools also, children with disability will be allowed. But what happens, they will not be allowed to sit along with the normal children, but separate class will be made where a special teacher who has taken training to teach such students will be teaching such students. Okay, so they will be, the instructional procedures will be there different, the instructional learning experience for such children will be different, everything will be different, but they will be made to integrate along with the normal children only during the physical education, music and other extracurricular activities. If there are any extracurricular activities, the disabled children will be made to integrate with non-disabled children. Did you get my point here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
See, this is a segregated education. Now the same thing, whether it is a segregation or segregated school or segregated education is education where students will be taught in a separate schools along with the other disabled children of the same category away from their parents, siblings, non-disabled children. Okay, they will be taught by a special teacher who has taken training to teach such students. A different curriculum will be there, different textbooks will be there, different instructional procedures will be there, and at the end of the day, what happens? Even we have a different curriculum. See, whatever the curriculum is framed for the normal children, you see that it will be quite different. Okay, so generally what happens? Children with one type of disability will be made to sit together and give an education along with the boarding and lodging. Sometimes you might have come across. I said, most of the parents, they don't want their children to study in the segregated schools, because what happens, if they make their children to study in the segregated schools, they have to be away from their kids. For that purpose, the parents, they do hesitate and they send their children in the normal schools. But what happens when they send their children in the normal schools, education, you cannot justify the child's education. See, this child will not be able to get any education, because it's not that possible to have education in the normal school for children with severe disability. Only when the child goes to some segregated schools, their teaching would be different. They will be made to sit along with the other disabled children of the same category. A teacher who has taken training will be able to make out actually the flaws and everything. And you see, there the focus on the such children will be more by the teacher, because only few students will be there. She knows all the techniques, strategies, and she knows the weakness and the strength of the students. So based on that, the teaching will be done by the teacher, because she has taken training. So at least there would be some outcomes would be there among such children, and that is what every parent want. But why parents, they hesitate to send children to segregated schools? Because what happens, they have to be away from them, and they will be they have to be away from their society, other friends and everything. So this is what generally. So what happens when it comes to the segregated education, children having the same disability will be made to sit and will be grouped together and will be given education along with the boarding and lodging. Now the exceptional children who are segregated are given education by the resource teacher. A resource teacher is a highly trained professional who is capable of diagnosing the child, planning and implementing the program, providing continuous evaluation of the child, etc. The role of the resource teacher includes direct services to individual and small groups of children and assessment and delivery of individual programs. See, what do you mean by resource? Apart from this, the extra thing you are giving. So apart from the teacher, even when what happens, I said during the normal schools, the inclusive schools, a special teacher will be there. A special teacher is nothing but a resource teacher who knows the disability. Okay, here what happens is that in the exceptional children who are the children who are exceptional will be made to take education in the segregated schools where they will be taught by where education will be given by a resource teacher. A resource teacher is a teacher who is highly trained professional and who has the capacity to diagnose the child's weakness. Depending upon the child's weakness and the strength, she will plan and she will implement the program. See, every child is unique, and especially children with exceptional needs, and children with severe disability, every child is unique. The special teacher or the resource teacher has to look into the weakness of the students, then she has to plan and implement the program. This is what actually is the role of a resource teacher. See, even I have some 28 students are present here. No child will be common. Every child is unique. But what happens is that here, even though I have to pay attention towards you, but I don't have to pay that much of attention as I am supposed to pay for the exceptional children. So, the role of the resource teacher will be more. It is, she is accountable. And what happens? She is highly professional who has taken training to teach her students, and she knows the technique, she knows the strategies, and also she is the person who can look into the strength and weakness of the students and can plan and implement the program. For that purpose, students, exceptional children or children with severe disability, when taught in segregated schools by a resource teacher, definitely you could see that fruitful outcome would be there among the students. Okay. The role of the resource teacher includes direct services to individuals and small groups of children and assessment and delivery of individualized programs. See, not only they are taught by the resource teacher, but also they would be assessed. They would be assessed, and based on the assessment and the evaluation, few more strategies, teaching strategies will be used by the resource teacher. Now, any doubts regarding this segregated schools and segregated education?
Understood, ma'am.
Everyone has understood?
No doubt, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Now, segregated education is giving education. Segregated school is nothing but a school where the students with severe disability will be made. They will be away. I think you have understood. I don't have to repeat. Did everyone follow? Prakash? Om Prakash? Where is Prakash? Om Prakash, did he leave?
Madam, yes.
Understood, Prakash?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now this is. Now I think inclusive you have understood, marginalization you have understood, and segregated education is giving education. Segregated school means a school where children with severe disability will be there. They will be away from their parents, siblings, peer group, and other non-disabled group. Okay, separate school will be and let me tell you, depending upon the disability, they have a resource room also will be there. A resource room will be there where children with severe disability will be making use of the electronic gadgets, so that even the technology-based teaching will be done. The teacher who is well aware of, a resource teacher will be, he is a highly professional, she had taken training, who can easily make out the strength and weakness of the students. And especially I said teaching normal students is not that an easy task. It is an easy task. Whereas teaching children with severe disability is a very difficult task. Because every child is unique. Every child is unique, quite unique. You have to understand, you have to study the child, then you have to plan the teaching strategies. And you don't have, 50s, 70s, students will not be there. Hardly few students will be there because the teacher has to pay more and more attention. She has to be very focused on each and every child. She has to assess the child. She has to assess the performance of the child, and even assessment will be there. When they are made to sit in the normal schools, assessment cannot be done. I think the teacher will not have the time to at least see such children. But whereas in segregated schools, where the students will get the segregated education. Not only will the child be given the education, but also individually attention will be there, and also assessment will be done by the resource teacher. Okay, what do you mean by resource teacher, Shravani? Shravani.
Yes, ma'am. A teacher who is trained for specially needed childs.
Specially needed, huh? Special children with special needs, exceptional children, differently abled children. Okay, all
Yes, ma'am.
exceptional children, severe disability will be made to study in the segregated schools. See, now I think
Small doctor.
who is that? Prakash, tell me when. No.
In the segregation, every child has some different problems. Suppose some hearing problems, some will have eye problems.
Yeah.
In the segregated school, again, those children are segregated based on their problem.
Yeah.
Or they sit in the same class.
No. Depending upon the category they fall. I said no. All the students will not be taught in under the same roof. They will be taught in the same school, but different classes will be there, and the classes will be divided based on the category. Category is nothing but based on the disability. I said that you have for blind, you have for dumb and deaf, and you have for the mentally retarded. Because teaching strategies for these categories differ from one disability to other disability, and that it would not be easy for the teacher. See, common, like how you are taking BA training. See, all the subjects would be common, but how you have methodologies like M1 and M2, in the same manner, teachers, those who are taking training for this special training. So same thing, 1 year training will be there, and again they have a specialization, like how you have electives. In the same manner, they have specialization. They have to choose whether they are going to choose for blind, they are going to choose for dumb and deaf, or whether they are going to choose for mental retarded. So again, in the segregated schools, you don't find one classroom. You have different classrooms, and the classrooms will be divided based on the disability of the child. So, in one classroom, if it is meant for dumb and deaf, then you see that every child in that classroom will be dumb and deaf. All Prakash. Om Prakash? Understood?
Yes, ma'am. I got it.
Okay. Now, anyone is having doubt, please, if you have any doubts, you can, I know it's tea time, if you want, see, however the video is off, you can have a cup of tea, okay, you can listen, but only thing is that your attention is more important. Okay, now, segregated schools, segregated education, I have told you, a resource teacher, I have told you, and on what basis the classrooms are arranged, I have told you, and what is the technique, what is the resource room also, I have told you. Now these are the things I have told you today. Now coming to this, what are the advantages of segregation? See, when it comes to the segregation, it prevents the dependency on others. The students will become independent. I said that education to every child is to make them independent, whether they are able or whether they are disabled. But importance is more given to disabled children because the feeling of disability, the feeling of dependency should be taken away from them. For that purpose, inclusive schools have been started, and for that purpose, to make them independent in their life, segregated schools have been started. So what is the advantage of segregation? It prevents the dependency on others. Children are independent of themselves to get education, to solve their problems related to the education. They have their own curriculum, they have their own, pattern of learning. They will be given different learning experiences. So they become quite independent. So person who becomes independent, the encouragement, the motivation, so that confidence among the children will be more. Once you become, the more you are confident in your life, so the more you will be independent. The person who is not that confident, definitely he depends on others, whether it is a normal or children with disability. Okay. See, generally what happens, we may be talking a lot, but at times what happens, we need the help of others. So in few cases, we are dependent, but some people, they are quite independent in their life. Now, they are quite independent in their life means they have more confidence. So the more you have confidence in you, the more you will be independent. Sometimes if you don't have that much of confidence, then you need help of others. When you need help of others, it clearly shows that you are dependent in certain areas. Okay. Now, when segregated schools, when students will be along with the same disabled children, so what happens? It helps them to develop good study habits, helps to develop study skills from seniors and the other peers. Okay, it helps to develop friendly and competent attitude towards learning. Okay, children feel secure and understand that there are many others who have similar problem. After proper education and training, exceptional children will lead an independent life. This is the main advantage of segregated schools. When segregated schools also, separate classroom will be made where all the students having the same disability will be made. Okay, some are little bit senior or some are some student, you may have classes, but all blind children will not be under the same in the same class. You may have like some 3 to 4 classes. So 3 to 4 classes will be belonging to the category for blinds. 3 to 4 classes will be belonging to the category for dumb and deaf. So what happens when segregated schools, and you might be surprised that some schools are there, only it is meant for dumb and deaf. Some 3 to 4 classes will be there. That's all, not more than that. You don't expect that this is a school where you have n number of sections. No. You have hardly 4 to 5 classes. You don't have all the sections, and in each class, I don't think so. You'll have strength will be more because the teacher has to pay attention individually to each and every child. Okay, so what happens? The atmosphere will be very conducive because the students will have a feeling that there are many students like us. They will come to know the problems. They will be able to get tips from their seniors who fall under the same category. Atmosphere will be good. Okay, and they have very positive they develop that friendly attitude towards learning. Okay, children feel secure and understand that there are others who have the similar problem. See, after giving a good training to such children, such exceptional children will lead an independent life. This is the merit advantage of segregated schools. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone is
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now coming to this, these are the merits I said. Now, what is the role of the parents in segregated schools? Every day will they have the chance to teach the children? Teach their child?
No, ma'am.
Why?
Ma'am, if they meet their children, then maybe the children get disturbed, so maybe they don't allow.
Yeah, they don't allow. No, they may allow it. See, I say what the question here I wanted the answer from your side is that no child will be allowed to stay with their parents. So hardly once in a month they are supposed to. It's a separate boarding and lodging will be there, and generally segregated schools will be some away from the city, so that no disturbance will be there. They will be given all the facilities. Okay. A resource teacher will be there, even sometimes what happens, how you have this nowadays, model schools where the teacher is supposed to stay over there in the same manner. According to my knowledge, such schools will have teachers who are supposed to stay over there, so that they can look after the children right from not only during the teaching hours but also after the teaching hours. Okay. Now, I said even there are chances that sometimes even in normal schools, you have a separate classroom meant for exceptional children. There, a special teacher will be appointed. The special curriculum will be there. Everything will be there. Everything will be different. But the only thing is that they will be they belong to that school. That's all. But what happens? They are the children with special needs or exceptional children will be made to integrate with the normal children only during the extracurricular activities, okay, like physical education, music, art, or whatever it may be. So at that time only the exceptional children will be made to integrate with the abled children, not disabled children, abled children or normal children. Understood? Few schools are there. I don't say that all schools. See, inclusive means mild disability, normal children, that is inclusive. But they will be made to sit in the same room. Mild disability is there, they will made to sit along with the normal children. But here what happens, if severe disability is there, but even then if they are in the same school, but they will not be in the same classroom, separate classroom, everything will be separate. But only during the lunch time and the physical activities time, and some you have the extracurricular activities or some other things, the programs will be there. Na? At that time, this exceptional children will be made to sit or join along with the normal children. Is the thing clear?
Ma'am, that comes under the inclusive school or segregation school, ma'am?
That is not inclusive. See, I said how it will be inclusive. How it will be inclusive?
When the disabled children sit along with the normal children and will be taught in the same class.
Yeah, but here what did I say? What did I say? Only they will be in the school. It will be a school. Okay, I don't say it will be a school. Okay, but what happens here? I don't say that it is an inclusive school. Inclusive school means they will be included and will be taught along with the normal children. Here what happens? Generally, here they will be there, a special class will be there, a special room will be there, a special teacher will be there, and all the facilities will be different for the such children. Only during the lunchtime and the extracurricular activities, such children will be made to integrate or join with the normal children. Hardly few schools will be there. Hardly few, I don't think so. But generally what happens, for the advantage of the exceptional children, the most of the parents, they join their kids in the segregated schools because atmosphere would be different, teaching would be different, even the peer group will be same, so there would be no inferior feeling will not be there among the children. So that is quite different. I say hardly few chances, few schools will be there throughout the world where severe disability will be made to study in the same school but not in the same class. Please make a point, Lavanya.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Understood, ma'am.
Understood?
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Now, if they sit in the same classroom, it will be inclusive. Okay, these are the advantages I told you. So, advantages of segregated education. Now, what is the disadvantage? First disadvantage is that what happens? Scope is limited because only one type of children with common disabilities has to be. See, only blind people will be there. So what happens? Of course, I cannot say this as a disadvantage. But what happens here? You don't come across children with a different attitude. You have the children with same type of disability. Okay, children will be deprived of love and affection and interaction of parents and society. They will be staying away from the city. They will be away from their parents. They will be away from their siblings. They will be away from the peer group. They will be away from the society. So that is one disadvantage of segregated schools. It is not that easy to maintain such to run segregated schools. Do you know that? It is quite expensive. If it is government, if it is run by the government, no problem. But if it is a private institution, then the parents have to pay good amount of money towards the education of their exceptional child. Okay. Now, in the system, the children are inhibited to mix and other members of the society. Since they are always under the investigation of a supervisor, it does not provide them freedom for the inmates of the school. So generally what happens now, you people, see, in the classroom you will be watched by the teacher. But what happens? Then afterwards, you are at liberty, you do your work, you have your own freedom. But generally, in segregated schools, most of the time, the child will be watched by the supervisor who is appointed over there to look after the needs of the children because they are exceptional children. So the feeling of freedom, the feeling that okay, I'm being watched. So that actually demotivates the child. Okay, always they feeling that they are being watched. They don't get the freedom to do whatever they want because they are being watched by the supervisor. This approach is very difficult to organize due to lack of good and efficient teachers. Definitely, whatever it may be, whether it is a normal school, whether it is an inclusive school, or whether it is a segregated schools, at the end of the day, the teacher has to be very efficient. Otherwise, you will not get the required outcome. Now, did you understand the merits and the demerits of segregation?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Sandhya, tell me one advantage and one disadvantage, Sandhya. Fast, okay, fast. Sandhya.
Ma'am,
One advantage and one
segregated school advantage and disadvantage, ma'am.
One.
Ma'am, they will be always watched by a supervisor. No freedom for the child.
This is advantage. Is this advantage? Sandhya, is this then what is the advantage of segregated schools?
Separate teacher will be there for them to teach, ma'am. They can understand. Special teacher will be there.
Then how about parents, Mr. Venkatesh? How about parents, Venkatesh? Who is Venkatesh?
Sarita, ma'am.
Who is okay? Sarita na okay.
Telugu, ma'am.
ఓకే నువ్వేనా అడిగింది తెలుగులో చెప్పమని
Yes, ma'am.
నేను చెప్పింది నీకు అర్థం అవుతుందా
ఉన్నాం మేడం, చాలా వరకు ఉన్నాం. కృష్ణవేణి ఉంది, శ్రీవాణి ఉంది, శ్రావంతి ఉన్నాం. ఇందులో ఉన్నారు కదా తెలుగు స్టూడెంట్స్.
సరే అంటే ఇప్పుడు నేను చెప్పేది అసలు నీకు ఏం అర్థమే కాలేదా?
అర్థం అయింది మేడం, కొంచెం తెలుగులో ఇట్లా ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తే కొంచెం ఇంకా క్లారిటీగా అర్థమవుతుంది అనేసి.
నా తెలుగు నీకు అర్థం కాదు, మళ్ళీ అదొకటి అది ఒక ఇన్క్లూజివ్ స్కూల్ లాగా అయిపోతుంది. అర్థమైందా? నేను చెప్తే ఇన్క్లూజివ్ క్లాస్ లాగా అయిపోతుంది. ఓకే ఫైన్. ఇప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది, ఇప్పుడు నేను ఎలా చెప్తాను, ఆ పిచ్చి వాళ్ళకు నార్మల్ పిల్లలతో కూర్చోబెట్టి చదివించడానికి ఇన్క్లూజివ్ అంటారు. అది ద వర్డ్ టర్మినాలజీ అనేది ఐఎమ్ నాట్ దట్ ఫెమిలియర్. బట్ ఎనీవేస్ ఓకే, నువ్వు సరిత ఐ వాజ్ నాట్ అవేర్. ఓకే, బట్ ఐ నో దట్ యు వేర్ ద వన్ యాక్చువల్లీ హూ వాంటెడ్ టు హ్యావ్ తెలుగు వర్జన్ ఆఫ్ వాట్ ఐ సే ఇన్ ద క్లాస్. ఓకే ఫైన్. Okay, fine. Okay, I think now we have understood the difference, the merits and demerits of segregated schools. Is it clear? Is everyone? Segregation వల్ల ఏంటి అడ్వాంటేజ్, ఏంటి డిసడ్వాంటేజ్? ఓకే, they will be away from their parents. Is it an advantage or disadvantage, Mr. Nitish?
Away from the parents is a disadvantage, ma'am.
Okay, and this is a disadvantage. And they will be taught by a special teacher, a resource teacher with all the facilities. Is it an advantage or disadvantage?
Advantage, ma'am.
This is an advantage. They will be away. The freedom, the feeling of freedom will not be found among the students. So is it a advantage or disadvantage?
Feeling.
It's a disadvantage. Freedom. See, people, the students, they are always being watched by the supervisor. Such feeling, actually what happens is that they are deprived of the freedom. So that feeling that, okay, I am always being watched, I cannot do what I want. So generally what happens right from morning to evening, if you are being watched by a person, you don't feel, sometimes you feel like doing your own way. You want to live in your own way. So in case if you are restricted, at that time what happens? You say that what is this? What life is this? Every time I am being watched. So such feeling generally the exceptional children will have. So that is a disadvantage because they are away from their parents. Since they have severe disability, a particular person will be there to look after each and every movement of such children. And the other disadvantage is it's quite expensive. You cannot run segregated schools. It's not that easy nowadays. Wherever you want, if you have a building, they'll start one name. They'll keep and recognized by government of Telangana, and they'll run the school. It is very easy to start a normal school, but it is highly risky and expensive to run segregated schools because just having you may get segregated students, but you will not get teachers because the scarcity of efficient teachers who have taken training to teach such students are very rare. Scarcity is there. You don't find such teachers in abundance because hardly you get such teachers. So that is also one disadvantage. It is very costly. They will be away from their parents. That is also they will be away from their siblings. The freedom will not be for they will not have the freedom. Okay, then they will be deprived of the love and affection of the parents. Okay, then scope is very limited, and that feeling that every classroom we have different type of students. So here, when it comes to such a segregated classroom, the students will have that. But what is it? It is only what is that? The same way of students. All the students will have the same disability. Even that becomes what is that? A boredom for such children. So that is the disadvantage of segregated education. Okay. Segregated school or segregated education. Segregated schools will give segregated education. Inclusive schools will give inclusive education. Understood?
Yes, ma'am, understood.
Okay, now.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, role of a resource chief. Yeah, who is that?
Deepti ma'am.
Deepti, after a long time we have turned up. Deepti, come. Yeah, tell me.
And the feeling of being watched, it is also a disadvantage in such a way that in absence of those teacher, in absence of the teacher, they will not be able to do something because they have a fear like I can't do alone. I can't do anything alone. That fear will be there in them, ma'am, if they are being watched continuously.
See what happens, whether it is children with special needs or children with normal children also. See, sometimes what happens, you don't have to be very possessive. Now, now this is my practical experience. Now, whoever is having kids and this is my perception. See, we should every parent will be possessive about their kids. Every parent, okay, whether it is a girl or boy or whatever it may be. So, generally, we will be very possessive. We don't want to, we will be so possessive that now before the child does something, we will do for them. Okay. And at the end of the day, and whenever the child is doing something, no, you're supposed to do like this, no, do like this, do it. So what happens here, the child stops thinking on his own and at times it so happens that if you are unable to guide him, if you are unable to give him suggestion, the child will not be able to move forward. And there actually he lacks behind the feeling of confidence, the feeling of independence, independent thinking. We being a parent, we are taking away from our kids. For that purpose, I personally now I have a feeling that at times we have to leave the children. We have to watch, but they should not have a feeling that they are being watched by us. So what happens? They have their own thinking, and sometimes the child thinks better than your way. The perception of the child would be better compared to your perception. So that independent feeling, that thinking on their own, doing on their own, is not at all found in segregated schools. Follow, Deepti?
Yes, ma'am. That is what I wanted to.
Understood. Most of the parents, you have to be strict. I'm very strict towards my kids. But what happened is that now I have realized that becoming over possessive, when they happen to face the society, if they are under the shadow of their parents, then they cannot think in their own way. See, every time we don't have to interfere. Sometimes, see, small kids, we have to look after them. We have to tell them this is correct, this is wrong. But you leave them. Let them free. Okay, but let them think on their own. Let them have their own independent thinking. Let them have because sometimes every time parents cannot be correct. So sometimes let them have their own thinking and let them move a step further. And sometimes you realize that the way they are moving forward, you might have not expected. And every time if you are behind your kids, and the moment when, in case if you are not there in the sense, if you happen to not there to guide him, then a situation will be there that he will not be able to put a step forward without your guidance. So don't give that stage to your kids or whatever, general. So this is what. So over possessiveness We may think that I'm looking after my kids very well. I'm not actually whatever they want before they ask. I'm giving them. I'm guiding them in every aspect of life to some extent. To some extent, you do, and leave them. Give them the freedom so that they start thinking on their own. They have their own ideas. You watch them, but give them a feeling that they are not being watched. And if they are moving forward in a correct way, you should be very happy. And if they put a wrong step, guide them. So this boosts their confidence. Okay. Now, reactions for this statement?
Absolutely correct, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. It's very correct.
Okay, fine.
Bomarilu father. We shouldn't be Bomarilu father.
Yeah. But that is a real life. But this is real life. Okay. Now, I told you about segregated schools. I have told. Please don't get confused because this is this topic is little bit. What is that? I know. Hardly few topics will be there, and after that we have articles and all. That I don't even bother to explain about that because however, even if I repeat 100 times, you will not be able to follow those things. But here when I'm talking about the segregated schools and segregated education, you should know. When someone asks you what do you mean by segregated schools, is there any difference between segregated schools and segregated education? Both means the same. The education given to children with special needs will be given in will be given in segregated schools. Okay, segregated schools, segregated education will be given. Understood? In inclusive schools, inclusive in education will be given for normal children along with the disabled children. Is it clear? Or are you getting confused? Okay, fine. Clear. I don't know. Okay.
Clear, madam.
Okay. Now, normal teacher will not be there. So, resource teacher will be there. Now, if you were given the role, now I think I told you, you cannot play the role of a resource teacher. Now, during Teacher's Day, you will play the role of a teacher. Okay, it's very easy. You try to imitate the teacher. You try to teach the subject. That is quite different. And sometimes students do teach better than teach well. Okay, but it is not that easy to play the role of a special teacher because she has a higher responsibility. Her task could be different, and also she has many roles to play. And what is her duty towards the students? First and foremost duty, the role of a resource teacher, I said now every child is unique. When I'm talking about the segregated school students, okay, where children with severe disability will be there in the classroom, it is the duty of the teacher to identify the strength and weakness of the students. The segregated schools and the schools, I cannot speak in Telugu. Okay, fine. Determine the special services needed by students. Generally, I told you, when you have special categories like blind, dumb and deaf, and the mental rehab, so you have to identify what sort of programs are required in order to build up confidence, in order to inculcate some knowledge among them, in order to make them lead an independent life. As a resource teacher, I have to plan for the programs for the upliftment or enhancement of the knowledge among the students. So I have to arrange the special programs, gather information to determine the educational needs of each student. I said that it is highly impossible that you cannot make all the students fall under the same category. Even though every class only children with one special needs will be there, but every child is unique. So it is the duty of the resource teacher to identify the strength and weakness of each and every student, because see, the disability factor, it may be severe, but in a few cases it may be very severe. So depending upon the severity and depending upon the disability of the child, the resource teacher has to plan her teaching strategies. Followed. See, I said the class will have all the students with the same disability, but still the severity, even though segregated schools are meant for severely disabled children, but even then, how in the normal class, how in a normal class you have children with different IQ level, In the same manner, even in the segregated schools, in a segregated class, you have children with different variations in the severity. So the role of a special teacher is to identify the strength and weakness of every child, because every child is unique. Okay, determine the goals for each student that are appropriate, realistic. We have to go for the, depending upon the severity of the disability of the children, we have to plan the different teaching strategies. We have to make use of the human resources, okay, and material resources. We have to develop individual educational program. IEP is nothing but individual education program, is meant for the students based on their severity and the disability, and developing a flexible time schedule that provides for learning as well as physical and social needs of each student. See, it should be just like a normal classroom, but only thing is that the role of a teacher, resource teacher, is very important, because she has to plan she has to prepare a timetable, not only for her related to the curriculum, okay, academics, but also for the physical and social needs of the child. Is it clear? Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
See,
Yes, ma'am.
sometimes it so happens that we provide segregated and integrated education to the same child. But an exceptional child may benefit from both types of education. For example, a visually impaired child may be educated in normal classroom, and he can be segregated for some period and can be taught in using braille, use of equipments, orientation, mobility, sensory training, and can be again integrated for co-curricular activities. Mild and moderate hearing impaired children can be integrated with normal children for some classes, and they can be segregated for teaching sign language, lip reading. But children who have severe disability are placed in special schools. I said one student was there, Ailaya. He was completely blind. Okay, completely blind. He has completed his B.Ed, and actually not only even principal sir, everyone taught. See, he was not made to sit in segregated schools. No segregated education was given. Let me tell you, what was the advantage? What is the advantage of blind people? See, making them to join in the normal schools along with the normal children will not be a hurdle for the disabled children, because they listen, they hear, they listen. Okay, they will be able to actually make out the conceptual knowledge can be easily acquired by listening to the teacher. And afterwards, what happened? A special class for 1 hour will be taken, making you a special where they will be taught by the special teacher, and there they will be teaching about this sensory, braille language, sign language, everything. And if you have come across children who are completely blind, generally they will be made to along with the normal children, and when they happen to write the exam, one assistant will be there. Okay, because through listening, they might have understood the conceptual knowledge, and a special teacher will be there with they are going to go for this lip reading, okay, and social skills and mobility, orientation, and blind people even they will be taught how to make movements, okay, how to move forward, how to walk, and everything. All these things will be taught. See, they have more, the sensory works more for blind people rather than the normal people. So you would have come across, if completely it is not compulsory that complete blind students will be made to sit in the segregated schools, or will be sent to the segregated schools, because what happens is that only their disability is that they are blind, but they can listen to the teacher, they can understand they can have the conceptual knowledge. And I told you, if they are integrated with the normal students in the normal school, a special class will be taken for such students, okay, or such student, whoever it may be, and will be taught by the special teacher, where she is going to give the clarity of the conceptual knowledge of to the students. And apart from that, lip reading will be taught. They will be taught in the braille language, and even they will be giving the sign language lip reading. Okay, so children with the severe disability are placed. Children with the other disability will be made to sit in the other schools, whereas completely blind will have every chance of integrated with the normal children. Understood? No?
Got it now.
Sometimes I said, depending upon the distance of the school, segregated school, some parents, what happens, they send their children whoever is blind or blind, generally blind children, to the normal schools. So that child may not take 100% advantage of the education given to him, but 75% to 80% he will be able to make out. If not 75%, 50% he will be able to make out. See, mathematics and all, it will be, see, you don't expect the complete disabled children to have the complete knowledge as normal children, but at least he can lead an independent life. So at times, even if the parents do take the risk and they send their children to the normal school, where the child will be made to sit along with the normal children. So the child will be able to listen, he will understand the conceptual knowledge, and sometimes what happens, a special teacher will be there who is going to teach them the sign language, lip reading and all those things, and he will be taught through Braille and everything. So you see that even this child will be benefited, because some only for 2 to 3 hours or for 1 hour he will be segregated from the normal children. For the rest of the activities, such children will be made to sit along with the normal children. So this is one chance, segregation and integration. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
So yes. I said not all times, sometimes I said. Sometimes such cases where even if a severe disability is there, they will be made to sit along with the normal children. Otherwise,
ma'am, inclusive and integrated is same, ma'am.
Yes.
Inclusive and integrated.
Integration is joining, segregation means separation. Okay, understood now?
Yes, ma'am. So in integration, the benefit is for disabled students.
Yeah, disabled students.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Now, what do you mean by integration?
Combining, ma'am.
Come.
Summing up.
See, integration is nothing but combination. The opposite of integration is segregation. See, many national and international initiatives have been contributed to the movement towards integrated education in India. Okay, integrated education is based on, equal rights to all the students should be provided. Okay, there should be no restriction. Okay, and environment which should be very effective. The least restrictive environment which disabled children need can only be provided in general schools. Thus, integrated education refers to education of disabled children in common with others in general schools with provision for extra help for the disabled. See. Integrated education means education of disabled children in common with others in general schools with provision for extra help for the disabled. It refers to integrating the physically and mentally handicapped children with the non-disabled children in regular classroom and providing specialized services to meet their special needs.
Your voice is not
Here, integration and segregation. Here, what is that? Inclusive and here, what is that? Integration is nothing but. Okay, please.
Ma'am, both are same, no, ma'am. Inclusive and integration.
I'll tell you. What did I say? Inclusive means normal disabled children will be made to sit along with the normal children. Okay, that is inclusive. Okay, they will be taught under the same room by the normal teacher. Marginalization, what is that? I told you, isolated from the society, away from the society. Okay, even the mentally handicapped, physically handicapped, and all if they will come under means what is there? They are second to something. So that is marginalized. I said women, handicapped, okay, older people, people belonging to SC, ST and all those things are marginal. I told you what do you mean by marginalization. Then I started with the segregation. Segregation means nothing but separated. Students with severe disability will be taught in a separate schools. So such type of education is called segregated education, and the school in which they are being educated is called segregated schools. I have told you what are the advantages of segregated schools, what are the disadvantages, and what is the role of a resource teacher. And what is a resource teacher? Who is a resource teacher? A resource teacher is the one who is going to teach, who has taken training, professional training to teach her students, and she is well aware of all the techniques. That is over. Now what is integration? Integration is nothing but, integration is nothing but where normal children will be made to sit along with the disabled children, whatever may be the disability or how much ever may be the severe the disability may be, but they will be made to sit along with the normal students in the general classroom, and a special provision should be given. A special provision should be given for disabled children to teach them in a separate classrooms.
Okay, in inclusive, special provision will not be provided for special disabled student, but in integration, special provision is needed, ma'am. That is the difference between these two.
Overall, both means the same, but here integration means what is running in your mind is okay, but here in inclusive we don't give them all the facilities and all. Okay, I said na weekly once a resource teacher may come, a special teacher may come or may not come, but that is inclusive school. The student has to manage with the normal teacher. Segregated, the student has to manage with the resource teacher. Whereas in the integrated schools, it is an education which is given to the disabled children in common with the others. Others is nothing but the normal students in general schools with provision for extra help for the disabled. It refers to the integrating the physically and mentally handicapped children with the non-disabled children in regular classroom and providing specialized services to meet their special needs. Understood? Here, integration is a school where normal children will be made to sit. Normal children will be there, and along with them, children with even severe disability will also be there. They will be made to sit in the normal classroom, and arrangement will be made to arrange some extra and special classes for the children based on their disability. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am. Clear, ma'am. It's clear.
అర్థమైందా లేదా? ప్లీజ్ అర్థం చేసుకోండి. అర్థం కాని వాళ్ళు అడగండి.
అండర్స్టూడ్ మ్యామ్. అర్థమైంది మేడం, అర్థమైంది.
ఇంటిగ్రేషన్ ఇంక్లూజివ్ ఏంటంటే వాళ్ళకు నార్మల్ పిల్లలతో పాటు డిసేబుల్ చిల్డ్రన్ ఉంటారు. స్పెషల్ ట్రైనింగ్ అని ఏముండదు, స్పెషల్ కోచింగ్ అని ఏముండదు. వన్స్ ఇన్ వైల్ ఏంటంటే స్పెషల్ టీచర్ రావచ్చు, రిసోర్స్ టీచర్ రావచ్చు, రాకపోవచ్చు, బట్ దే విల్ బి టాట్. సో దట్ ఈస్ ఇంక్లూజివ్. అంటే వాళ్ళని కూడా మనతో కలుపుకుంటున్నాం. సెగ్రిగేటెడ్ అంటే వాళ్ళకు కంప్లీట్లీ వేరే స్కూల్ ఉంటుంది, వేరే క్లాస్ రూమ్ ఉంటుంది. ఒక క్లాస్ రూమ్ లో ఒకటే కేటగిరీ వాళ్ళు, బ్లైండ్ అంటే బ్లైండ్, డమ్ అండ్ డెఫ్ అంటే డెమ్. ఓకే, దట్ ఈస్ అది ఏంటంటే అక్కడ ఒక టీచర్ ఉంటుంది హు హస్ టేకన్ ట్రైనింగ్ టు టీచ్ హర్ స్టూడెంట్స్. దట్ ఈస్ సెగ్రిగేటెడ్ స్కూల్స్. అలాంటి ఎడ్యుకేషన్ సెగ్రిగేటెడ్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ అంటాము. ఓకే, ఇప్పుడు నేను మాట్లాడేది ఏంటంటే, నేను ఏమన్నాను, సమ్ టైమ్స్ యాక్చువల్లీ ఇట్స్ సో హ్యాపన్స్ దట్ ఒక సెగ్రిగేటెడ్ దీంట్లో కూడా సమ్ టైమ్స్ ఇంటిగ్రేషన్ కూడా అవుతుంది. అది ఇంటిగ్రేషన్ అంటే ఏంటి, వాళ్ళను ఇంటిగ్రేషన్ అంటే ఏంటి, కలుపుకోవడం. ఇక్కడ ఏంటంటే నార్మల్ ఎంత ఇంటిగ్రేషన్ is an education given to the disabled children. Please try to make a note of the definition. Integration is an education given to the disabled children along with the non-disabled children in the general classroom by a normal teacher. To whatever the extent the severity or the disability may be, the child will be made to sit along with the normal children, and a facility or a provision will be made to meet the special needs of the exceptional children. Ante arrangements will be made. Okay, facilities will be given in such a way that depending upon the disability of the child, resources will be made available in the school by the management. అర్థమైందా లేదా?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Others, please. Prakash, Nitish, have you followed or not?
Crystal clear, ma'am.
Crystal clear. How about Prakash? Is he there or not? Prakash left, I suppose.
So integrated means
ఎంత సివియర్ డిసెబిలిటీ ఉన్నా వాళ్ళను వీళ్ళతో పాటు కూర్చోబెట్టి ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ని ప్రొవైడ్ చేస్తారు. కానీ ఇక్కడ ఏంటంటే ఒక ప్రొవిజన్ ఉంటుంది. వీళ్ళకు సివియర్ డిసెబిలిటీ ఉన్న వాళ్ళకు ఒక సెపరేట్ క్లాస్ రూమ్ లో వాళ్ళకు స్పెషల్ కోచింగ్ ఇస్తారు. ఓకే, ఆ ప్రొవిజన్ ఉండాలి. దాన్ని ఇంటిగ్రేషన్ అంటారు. డిడ్ యూ అండర్స్టాండ్? ఇంక్లూజివ్ లో ఆ ప్రొవిజన్ ఉండదు. ఇంక్లూజివ్ లో కంపల్సరీ ఆ ప్రొవిజన్ ఉండాలని ఉండదు. వాళ్ళని వీళ్ళని కూర్చోబెట్టి ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇవ్వడమే ఇంక్లూజివ్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ అంటాము. అది ఇంక్లూజివ్ స్కూల్స్ అంటాము. ఓకే, సెగ్రిగేటెడ్ అంటే వాళ్ళని కంప్లీట్లీ వాళ్ళ వేరే స్కూలు, అది అదంతా వేరే టీచర్ ఉంటుంది. అది దట్ ఈస్ సెగ్రిగేటెడ్ స్కూల్ అండ్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇస్ కాల్డ్ సెగ్రిగేటెడ్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్. ఇది ఇంటిగ్రేషన్ ఏంటంటే నార్మల్ స్కూల్లోనే జనరల్ క్లాస్ రూమ్ లోనే నార్మల్ చిల్డ్రన్ తో పాటు ఈ డిసేబుల్ చిల్డ్రన్, ఇక్కడ డిసేబుల్ చిల్డ్రన్ అంటే ఎంతైనా వాళ్ళకి డిసేబిలిటీ సివియర్ ఉన్నది, కానీ వాళ్ళను వీళ్ళను ఒకే రూమ్ లో నార్మల్ టీచర్ చెప్తారు. కానీ ఇక్కడ ఏంటంటే ఒక స్పెషల్ అరేంజ్మెంట్ కానీ ఫెసిలిటీ ప్రొవిజన్ చేస్తారు. ఏంటంటే వాళ్ళకు డిపెండింగ్ అపాన్ ది డిసెబిలిటీ ఫెసిలిటీస్ విల్ బి అరేంజ్డ్ ఇన్ సచ్ ఏ వే దట్ they will be taught making use of the different strategies and the techniques to teach the concept in a better way. Understood? అర్థమైందా లేదా?
Yes, ma'am, got it.
understood, madam.
See,
Ma'am, if blind child, suppose if a blind child is there in that class, so how the teacher will teach for normal and as well as to the blind child, ma'am?
లావణ్య జస్ట్ నో ఐ సైడ్ యాక్చువల్లీ కంప్లీట్లీ బ్లైండ్ ఉన్న వాళ్ళకి పెద్ద ప్రాబ్లం ఏముండదు. అక్కడ వాళ్ళు వింటారు, విని అర్థం చేసుకుంటారు. తర్వాత ఐ సైడ్ నా లివింగ్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ద 2 years బ్యాక్ వన్ పర్సన్ వాస్ దర్, వన్ స్టూడెంట్ వాస్ దర్, యాక్చువల్లీ హీ వాజ్ ఏబుల్ టు యాడ్. సో అక్కడ ఏమవుతుందంటే ఇక్కడ మన దాంట్లో మనకు స్పెషల్ గా ప్రొవిజన్ ఏం లేదు. ఇక్కడ బ్లైండ్ వాళ్ళకి చెప్పేది మనకు రిసోర్స్ టీచర్స్ ఎవరు లేరు. కానీ స్కూల్స్ లో ఏం చేస్తారంటే అలా సివియరిటీ ఉన్నప్పుడు వాళ్ళు ప్రొవిజన్ పెట్టుకుంటారు బ్లైండ్ స్టూడెంట్స్ ని చెప్పడానికి. వాళ్ళకు ఒక లిప్ రీడింగ్ అనేది, ఒక వాట్ ఇస్ దట్ సైన్ లాంగ్వేజ్ చెప్పడానికి, తర్వాత బ్రెయిలీ లాంగ్వేజ్ త్రూ బ్రెయిలీ దే ఆర్ సపోజ్ టు లెర్న్. సో అవన్నీ అరేంజ్మెంట్స్ ఎవరు చేయాలి? ఇంటిగ్రేటెడ్ స్కూల్స్ అంటే ఏంటి? వాళ్ళని వీళ్ళతో పాటు కూర్చోబెట్టి చదువు కూడా ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇవ్వడం, ఇంకా అరేంజ్మెంట్స్ ప్రొవిజన్ ఫెసిలిటీస్ ఇవ్వడం, వాళ్ళకు అరేంజ్మెంట్ చేయడం. వీ హావ్ టు ప్రొవైడ్ దెమ్, గివింగ్ దెమ్ ఆల్ ద ఫెసిలిటీస్ బేస్డ్ ఆన్ దేర్ డిసెబిలిటీ. ఇప్పుడు బ్లైండ్ ఉన్న వాళ్ళకు అలాంటి ఫెసిలిటీ ఇవ్వాలి. వాళ్ళకు మిగతాది పిచ్చి వాళ్ళు ఉన్నా, అది మెంటల్ ఏదున్నా వాళ్ళకు ఎలా చెప్పాలి అలా చెప్పాలి. వాళ్ళు వీళ్ళు ఒకే దగ్గర కూర్చుంటారు. దట్ ఈస్ ఇంటిగ్రేషన్. ఇంటిగ్రేషన్ ఏంటంటే ఫెసిలిటీస్ హ్యావ్ టు బి అరేంజ్డ్ బై ద స్కూల్ ఇన్ సచ్ ఏ వే దట్ depending upon the disability a special class will be made for them, taken by the special teacher who has taken training to teach such students.
Special teacher, ma'am?
Yeah, she'll be taught. Who do you think that I'm going to teach all the thing? Normal teacher cannot teach the children with severe disability. They will be given all the resources. And do you know that integration అనేది అది ఏంటంటే to run such schools is quite expensive, because you should have all the electronic gadgets, you should have the teachers, you should have then all rooms, special rooms will be there. ఓకే, సో అఫ్ కోర్స్ కానీ ఏంటంటే ఇంటిగ్రేషన్, వాట్ యు మీన్ బై ఇంటిగ్రేషన్ అనేది అది వెదర్ అది సక్సెస్ఫుల్ అవుతుందా లేదా అనేది కాదు. అక్కడ ఏంటంటే ఇంటిగ్రేషన్ ఏంటంటే వాళ్ళని వీళ్ళను కూర్చోబెట్టి ఎంతైనా సివియారిటీ ఉండని, డిసెబిలిటీ ఎంతైనా ఉండని, కానీ వాళ్ళకు వీళ్ళకు ఒకే దగ్గర కూర్చోబెట్టి ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇస్తారు, ఇంపార్ట్ చేస్తారు. కానీ ప్రొవిజన్ ఏంటంటే వాళ్ళకు స్పెషల్ క్లాస్, ఎక్స్ట్రా క్లాసెస్ తీసుకొని వాళ్ళకి ఎక్కడ కాన్సెప్ట్ అర్థం కాలేదో ఆ కాన్సెప్ట్ ని స్పెషల్ టీచర్ తీసుకుంటారు. డిడ్ యు అండర్స్టాండ్?
Yes, ma'am. Now clear, ma'am.
On what basis these disabled students are categorized like in integration or segregation? How can we differentiate whether they will go to integration or segregation?
It all depends
On what
upon the
basis this?
there is no basis, there is no criteria. Whichever college you want, you can join.
It depends on person disability. Maybe up to how much extent he will understand or
See, to some extent, actually, most of the students, if they have severe disability, it is better to make them to join in segregated schools. But actually, in case it's not, see, you don't find segregated schools. What is that? They are very few. So it's parents may not actually willing to send their kids to segregated schools away from them. Okay. So at that time, integration is the right choice for them. Here, what happens? And do you know that some parents, if they are financially well off, they not only send their kids to school so that the kid will come to know how the society is, how the friends would be, how the childhood is, and apart from that, a special training will be given to the child by a special teacher, which will be arranged by the parents.
Yes, ma'am. Like here, we can see those parents. They have extra tuition, like they call home tuition, like teachers. Special in the presence of parents.
Inclusion lo nenu okati I'll give you simple. Don't get confused. Segregation ante completely different amma. Inclusion ante వాళ్ళని వీళ్ళని కూర్చోబెడతారు. ఇక్కడ ఎక్స్ట్రా వాళ్ళకు ఇది ఉండదు. క్లాస్ పెట్టి ప్రొవిజన్ ఉండాలని కంపల్సరీ లేదు. అది ఇంక్లూజివ్ ఉంటుంది. అంటే వాళ్ళను వీళ్ళను కూర్చోబెట్టి ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇస్తారు. ఇంటిగ్రేషన్ లో ఏంటంటే వాళ్ళని వీళ్ళని కూర్చోబెట్టి ఎంత సివియారిటీ ఉన్నా, పిల్లలు ఎంత డిసబిలిటీ సివియారిటీ ఉన్నా వాళ్ళకి ఏంటంటే వాళ్ళని వీళ్ళతో పాటు దే ఆర్ మేక్ టు సిట్ అలాంగ్ విత్ ద నార్మల్ చిల్డ్రన్, బట్ ప్రొవిజన్ ఈస్ మేడ్ టు సీ దట్ దే ఆర్ taught in special classes by the special teacher who has taken training to teach the students of such disability. ఆ ఇంటిగ్రేషన్ లో అదే ఇక్కడ ఏంటంటే మేజర్ ఏంటంటే ఇక్కడ ఇంటిగ్రేషన్ లో వాళ్ళు వీళ్ళు సెపరేట్ చేయకుండా అందరికీ ఈక్వల్ రైట్స్ ఇవ్వాలని. ఇంటిగ్రేషన్ ఇస్ నథింగ్ బట్ సేమ్ రైట్, giving equal rights, whether they are handicapped or whether they are not handicapped. They should enjoy all the rights in an equal way, have access the quality of like any other citizen and treated as equal partners in the community. Integration అంటే వాళ్ళకు మాకు ఏమి తేడా లేదు, వాళ్ళు కూడా మనలాగే ఆ ఫీలింగ్, మేము కూడా వాళ్ళలాగే ఆ ఫీలింగ్ వాళ్ళలో రావాలని. వాళ్ళలో అంటే ఎవరిక్కడ
మేము ఇంక్లూజివ్ లో కూడా మనం అదే సేమ్ ఈక్వల్ ట్రీట్మెంట్ ఇస్తున్నాం కదా, దీంట్లో కూడా ఈక్వల్ ట్రీట్మెంట్ సేమ్ ఉంది కదా మ్యామ్. ఆల్మోస్ట్ దెన్ వాట్ ఓన్లీ ప్రొవిజన్ ఒకటే తేడా ఉంది.
I want to ask, we are providing resources by the management. Special teachers are provided. This. Then we are having all the different types of disabilities based on their high or low. Then if blind is there in the same class, if the others are also there, how many teachers will be provided for such people to meet all the requirements?
Yeah, it's a good point. So what happens is who is that? Siddhisha?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me tell you, Siddhisha. So provision will be given. It's not compulsory that the teacher has to stay in the school right from morning to evening.
But even though if they are if as it is integrated, even though if they are going regularly, every child needs a point where special teacher should be taught one or the other thing.
See,
then the teacher has to stay over there. Either it is for blind, same brain teacher has to be there.
Yeah. Okay, I'll clear the point. What happens, Siddhisha? See, it's not that easy. First and foremost thing, you don't have efficient special teachers. Okay, scarcity of such teachers. So what happens? At times the government will appoint the teachers in such a way that they have to visit schools, different schools at different times. And see, వాళ్ళకు మనతో పాటు వాళ్ళను కూర్చోబెట్టి మనం చదువు ఇస్తున్నాము, కానీ you don't expect that నార్మల్ స్టూడెంట్స్ ఎలా చదువుతారు, వాళ్ళకు మనం ఎంత ఇచ్చేస్తాము వాళ్ళకు అదే ఉంటుంది అని కాదు. అంటే వాళ్ళలో ఆ ఫీలింగ్ రావాలి. ఏంటి డిసేబుల్ చిల్డ్రన్ లో ఆ చిల్డ్రన్ విత్ సివియర్ డిసబిలిటీ వాళ్ళకి ఆ ఫీలింగ్ రావాలి, మేము కూడా వీళ్ళలాగానే ఉన్నాము, వీఆర్ ఇండిపెండెంట్, వీ హ్యావ్ ఈక్వల్ రైట్స్. ద ఫీలింగ్ ఆఫ్ దట్ ఈక్వల్ రైట్స్, ద ఫీలింగ్ ఆఫ్ దట్ గెటింగ్ ఈక్వల్ ఆపర్చునిటీస్, to inculcate such feeling among such students, the integration scheme has been started. See, it's not that easy to have resource teacher for different categories like, as you said, blind, dumb and deaf, mentally retarded. So the government will arrange in such a way that if not daily, an extra hour class will be given for such students. At least weekly, twice or thrice, the teacher has to visit different schools. Understood?
Then how can the needs of the child can be fulfilled, and how can he feel that he is equal to other children being in an integrated school?
See, what happens is that you don't expect 100% performance from severe disabled children.
Even though he will feel like he is separated, no ma'am. What is the use of staying in such an integrated school if their needs are not meted?
See, you cannot actually, for one child, you cannot make an arrangement for one teacher right from morning to evening. No, it's not that. See, you have to accept, and you have to, few things you have to go according to the time. See, only for 2 to 3 blind students, a special resource teacher who has taken training to teach blind students, she cannot stay throughout the day, because what happens is that special class will be taken during or after after the school hours. After the school hours. So generally, sometimes after the school hours or in between. See, at times, now in case if he is taken away from the classroom session, he feels segregated. So he will be there. You don't expect that whatever the 100% students, what they are, the normal students, what they are achieving in academics, the same thing you can't expect from the severe disabled children. But to some extent, the feeling of dependency, that we are independent, equal rights have been given to us, equal opportunities are being given to us, that feeling, in order to inculcate in them, the government has started this integrated schools.
But in inclusion also we are doing the same thing. Only resource we are providing, but the resource is also a question mark. Like we may have complete resource or partial resource. Then why to
where?
In integrated, ma'am.
Integrated, you will have the resource room. You will have all the electronic gadgets.
Ma'am, without special teacher, it is waste of having all the stuff, no ma'am.
No, Sirisha. See, right from morning to evening, you cannot take the blind child to the resource room. You cannot take the blind child. At that time, he feels it is as if it is segregated. To make the concept clear, an extra class will be taken by the special teacher. See, వాళ్ళకి రిసోర్స్ వాళ్ళకి సెపరేట్ గా చెప్పాలంటే వాళ్ళు సెగ్రిగేటెడ్ స్కూల్స్ కి పంపించాలి. సో ఆ ఫీలింగ్ వాళ్ళలో రావద్దు. మనకి ఈక్వల్ రైట్స్ ఇస్తున్నారు, మనకు కూడా ఈక్వల్ ఫెసిలిటీస్ ఇస్తున్నారు, ఆపర్చునిటీస్ ఇస్తున్నారు. సో వాళ్ళకు కాన్సెప్ట్ క్లియర్ చేయడానికి ఆ స్పెషల్ టీచర్ విల్ బి ఇంకా కొంచెం చాలా ఏంటి in order to make them the concept clear, so a special resource teacher will be given, will be provided. That is the advantage of integration.
Can I add some point, ma'am? Like
yeah, tell me.
Just about confusion is, ma'am, how a special teacher can be teach to the disabled student అని ఒక క్వశ్చన్ మ్యామ్ అంతే. బికాస్ స్పెషల్ డిసెబిలిటీ ఎక్కువ ఉన్నప్పుడు స్పెషల్ టీచర్ మస్ట్ కదా. సో అలాంటప్పుడు నార్మల్ స్టూడెంట్ తో కూర్చోబెట్టి చెప్పినప్పుడు హౌ దే కెన్ బి అండర్స్టూడ్ మ్యామ్, అదొక క్వశ్చన్. దట్స్ ఇట్.
సారీ, ఏంటంటే ఇప్పుడు నువ్వు అలా అంటున్నావు, ప్రతి అంత సివియర్ ఉన్నప్పుడు అంతా వాళ్ళకు అర్థం కాదు, అంతా ఒక నార్మల్ టీచర్ చెప్పింది అంతా వాళ్ళకు అర్థం కాదు, కాబట్టి రిసోర్స్ టీచర్ ని తీసుకుంటారు. ఆ రిసోర్స్ టీచర్ చెప్పింది ప్రతిదీ చెప్పాలని అవసరం ఉండదు. వాళ్ళకు ఏది అర్థం అవుతుంది, ఏది అర్థం కాదు అనేది రిసోర్స్ టీచర్ కి ఐడియా ఉంటుంది. ఇంకా ఒకటి, ప్లీజ్ కీప్ ఇన్ యువర్ మైండ్ దట్ యు డోంట్ ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ 100% పర్ఫెక్షన్ అమాంగ్ ద డిసేబుల్డ్ చిల్డ్రన్. వాళ్ళకు మాక్సిమం గా అర్థం చేయాలి అనే ఉద్దేశంతో నార్మల్ టీచర్ చెప్తుంది. కానీ ఏంటంటే, సో అక్కడ వీళ్ళకి ఏమి అర్థం కాదు అనేది అక్కడ నార్మల్ టీచర్ కి అర్థం కాదు, కానీ ఆ స్పెషల్ టీచర్ కి ఏంటంటే వీళ్ళకి ఇది కాన్సెప్ట్. అంటే ఇప్పుడు దే విల్ బి కోఆర్డినేషన్ బిట్వీన్ ద నార్మల్ టీచర్ అండ్ ద స్పెషల్ టీచర్. So special teacher will come to know where the students might have not understood. So that will be taught in a better way. That will be taught by the teacher, special teacher, making use of all the resources to the exceptional children, whoever it is, blind, dumb and deaf, or whatever it may be. ఓకే, సో మీరు ఇక్కడ ఏంటంటే వాళ్ళకు అక్కడ వాళ్ళకి ఇంత చెప్పినా మళ్ళీ అది సెగ్రిగేటెడ్ అవ్వద్దు అనే ఉద్దేశంతోనే వాళ్ళకు వీళ్ళకు ఒకే రూమ్ లో కూర్చోపెట్టి అదంతా ఇచ్చేస్తున్నారు. కానీ వాళ్ళకి ఏంటంటే నార్మల్ టీచర్ అంతగా జస్టిఫై చేయలేదు కాబట్టి వాళ్ళకు ఒక స్పెషల్ రూమ్, రిసోర్స్ టీచర్ అదంతా పెట్టారు. రిసోర్స్ టీచర్ స్కేర్ సిటీలో ఉంటారు, అంటే స్కేర్ సిటీ అంటే వీ డోంట్ హ్యావ్ దట్ రిసోర్స్ టీచర్స్ ఇన్ అబండెన్స్. సో అందుకని ఏంటంటే వాళ్ళు వీక్లీ ట్వైస్ గానీ థ్రైస్ గానీ ఒక 2 hours తీసుకొని వాళ్ళకంతా ఏంటంటే ఏ కాన్సెప్ట్ అనేది ఒకసారి బ్రష్ అప్ చేస్తారు, అంటే వాళ్ళకి ఇంకోసారి క్లియర్ గా చెప్తారు. సో దట్ వాట్ హ్యాపన్స్, ద స్టూడెంట్స్ విల్ అండర్స్టాండ్ ఇన్ ఎ బెటర్ వే. దిస్ ఇస్ వాట్.
Ma'am, just to eradicate the feeling of segregation, this integrated schools have been started.
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, I think class teacher should be taken more care for the special students. I think I came like this example.
No, class teacher, she cannot take the role of a special teacher because she has to look after the normal students along with the what is the special needs children. So only thing is that she do take care of the such students. కానీ ఇక్కడ ఏమవుతుందంటే మాక్సిమం గా షీ కెనాట్ జస్టిఫై, అందుకని వాళ్ళకి జస్టిఫై చేయడానికి ఈ ప్రొవిజన్ అరేంజ్ చేశారు అంతే. అండర్స్టూడ్?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
What happened? The picture is not clear?
It's clear, ma'am.
See, మీకు ఏం డౌట్ ఉంది మేడం? ఇంత ఇచ్చేసిన తర్వాత వాళ్ళకి ఏంటి మేడం, వాళ్ళకి అర్థమవుతుందా లేదా? సెగ్రిగేట్ స్కూల్స్ లో పంపించవచ్చు కదా మేడం అంటే, సెగ్రిగేట్ స్కూల్స్ లో అందరికి పంపించడానికి ఉండదు. కొన్ని సెగ్రిగేటెడ్ స్కూల్స్ చాలా దూరం ఉంటాయి. కొంతమంది పేరెంట్స్ ఏంటంటే పంపించాలని ఉద్దేశం ఉండదు. సో వాళ్ళకి ఏంటంటే ఇంటిగ్రేటెడ్ స్కూల్స్ వేరే, ఇంక్లూజివ్ స్కూల్స్ వేరే. ఇంటిగ్రేటెడ్ స్కూల్స్ లో ఏంటంటే ఇలా ప్రొవిజన్ ఉంటుంది, ఇంక్లూజివ్ స్కూల్స్ లో ప్రొవిజన్ ఉండదు. ఇంటిగ్రేటెడ్ స్కూల్స్ లో రిసోర్స్ టీచర్ ఉంటారు కంపల్సరీ, కానీ ఇక్కడ ఇంక్లూజివ్ స్కూల్స్ లో వస్తే రావచ్చు, లేకుంటే ఇట్స్ నాట్ కంపల్సరీ. సో ఇంటిగ్రేటెడ్ స్కూల్స్ అంటే ఏంటంటే ఒక స్పెషల్ ఎక్స్ట్రా క్లాసెస్ తీసుకుంటారు, స్పెషల్ రూమ్ ఉంటుంది, రిసోర్స్ టీచర్ ఉంటుంది. రిసోర్స్ టీచర్ పొద్దున్న నుంచి సాయంత్రం ఉన్నా లేకుండా నడుస్తుంది, కానీ వీక్లీ వన్స్ ఆర్ ట్వైస్ వచ్చి ఆ స్పెషల్ నీడ్స్ ఉన్న వాళ్ళకి ఎలా చెప్తే బాగుంటుందని ఆ స్ట్రాటజీలో చెప్తారు. దట్ ఈస్ ఓన్లీ ద అడ్వాంటేజ్ ఆఫ్ ఇంటిగ్రేటెడ్ స్కూల్స్ అండ్ దట్ ఈస్ డిఫరెంట్ ఫ్రమ్ ఇంక్లూజివ్ స్కూల్స్. Have you followed?
Then why to run inclusive, ma'am? We can run only integrated, ma'am.
It's not that easy to run integrated schools. Is not that easy because it's quite expensive. You have to have the resource room అంటే ఏంటి, వాష్రూమ్ అనుకున్నారా? And maintenance to run such what is that room, you have to have all the facilities, you have to have everything. Idantha undali. It's not that easy, baba. It's not that easy to run a resource room. అందుకని ఏంటంటే ఇంటిగ్రేటెడ్ స్కూల్స్ చాలా తక్కువ ఉన్నాయి, చాలా అంటే చాలా తక్కువ ఉన్నాయి. సెగ్రిగేటెడ్ స్కూల్స్ కూడా ఎక్కువ లేవు. అంటే పేరెంట్స్ డిపెండింగ్ అపాన్ దేర్ వాట్ ఈస్ దట్ ఐడియా, డిపెండింగ్ అపాన్ ద డిసెబిలిటీ ఆఫ్ ద చైల్డ్, దే ప్లాన్ వెదర్ టు సెండ్ దేర్ చైల్డ్ టు ద ఇంక్లూజివ్ ఆర్
Integrated.
ఇంటిగ్రేటెడ్ స్కూల్ లో పంపించి సెగ్రిగేటెడ్ ఉంటే కదా ఇంటి నా చుట్టూలో. హియర్ వీ హ్యావ్ ఠాకూర్ హరిప్రసాద్, ఈవెన్ వీ హ్యావ్ ఫ్యూ స్కూల్స్ ఓవర్ హియర్. ఐ సపోజ్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ ఐ డోంట్ నో. సో దే సీ అంటే ఇంటిగ్రేటెడ్ స్కూల్స్ లో పంపించడం వల్ల ఏంటంటే పిల్లలకు ఎక్కడ ఫీలింగ్ ఇన్ఫీరియారిటీ కాంప్లెక్స్ వస్తుందని అలా పంపించారు. కొంతమంది ఏంటంటే సెగ్రిగేటెడ్ స్కూల్స్ లో పంపించారంటే అబ్బా మై చైల్డ్ విల్ బి అవే ఫ్రమ్ మీ, నో హీ విల్ నాట్ హ్యావ్ దట్ ఎఫెక్షన్, దిస్ దట్ అలా. సో డిపెండింగ్ అపాన్, బట్ these are the schools: inclusive schools, segregated schools and integrated schools. Is it clear? Is it
Integrated clear.
Sangamitra,
ma'am, integrated schools the day scholar undna, is it residential, ma'am?
are they residential? No, they don't have to be డే స్కాలర్ ఉండొచ్చు. డే స్కాలర్ మీరు అలా రెసిడెన్షియల్ ఉండాలి అంటే అది యూ హ్యావ్ టు గో ఫర్ సెగ్రిగేటెడ్.
Okay, ma'am.
Any doubts? Shall I wind up? It's 4:30, man.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
See, inform other students that if they don't attend my class tomorrow, myself I'll be taking attendance. Okay? Now at 3:45 I'll be taking the attendance, and the students, those who will be absent, I'll send the names to university. Internal assessment నేను ఎక్కడ ప్రిన్సిపల్ సార్కి పంపాను, ఏ సార్కి పంపాను, ఇంటర్నల్ అసెస్మెంట్ లో కట్ చేస్తాను నేను చెప్తున్నా చూడండి. మీరు రావడం పోవడం 3 o'clock లాగిన్ అవ్వడం మధ్యలో మీరు టీ తాగడం అది ఐ డోంట్ యాక్సెప్ట్ ఆల్ దీస్ థింగ్స్. And suddenly when I ask whenever I want, I'll take the attendance. Yes, whenever I want, I'll take the attendance. In case if Nitish will take the attendance, he will give me the attendance. But special attendance, I myself I'll be taking. At what time I'll be taking, I'll not inform you. And the students, those who will not give response, okay, ఎవరైనా absent అయ్యారు నా క్లాస్ లో అంటే నెక్స్ట్ డే I will not allow you to attend my classes. Understood? పొద్దున రాని వాళ్ళు మీరు మధ్యాహ్నం రాకపోతే నో ప్రాబ్లం. పొద్దున మధ్యాహ్నం అటెండ్ అవ్వకపోతే హెన్స్ ఫోర్త్ ఐ విల్ నాట్, బికాస్ అడ్మిట్ విల్ బి ఇన్ మై హ్యాండ్. అర్థమైందా? ఇన్ఫార్మ్ యువర్ ఫ్రెండ్స్. వెన్ ఎవర్ ఐ వాంట్ ఐ టేక్ ద అటెండెన్స్. 3:45 అవ్వచ్చు, 4 o'clock అవ్వచ్చు. నేను అటెండెన్స్ తీసుకున్నప్పుడు మీరు ఉండాలి. మీరు పొద్దున వచ్చిన అటెండెన్స్ ఆల్రెడీ నా దగ్గర ఉంటుంది, ప్రిన్సిపల్ సార్ దగ్గర ఉంటుంది. నా ఆస్క్ నితీష్ టు సెండ్ మీ దట్ లిస్ట్. ఇఫ్ ఐ ఫైండ్ ద స్టూడెంట్స్ ఇస్ నాట్ ప్రెసెంట్ ఇన్ మై క్లాస్ అండ్ హెన్స్ ఫోర్త్ he or she should not attend my class. ఇక్కడ see, look at the strength 18. Do you think that I am mad to shout from 3 to 4:30? Otherwise I'll send you people whoever has not attended to segregated schools. Fine?
No, ma'am.
Okay then, fine. Okay, I'll wind up the session. Okay then, have a good day. See you ma'am. See you tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
Okay, ma'am.
3 o'clock.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.